Hello, I'm Adam Barralet and welcome to this Crystal Connections video where today I want to explore a practice that I see increasing in popularity around the full moon. Now before I go off on my little tangent or my rant, I do want to remind everyone that I am not claiming to be the be-all and end-all to know it all. But this practice and what I have an issue with, I'm going to explain why I have an issue with it and the kind of the reasoning behind my belief. And then what I really encourage you to do is to ponder that, see if it sits right with you, and then make your decisions and alter your practices if you see fit in the future. So what I see is a lot of people writing down things that they want to let go of and burning them on the full moon. Now this is something I would definitely not do. Why? Well, first of all, let's look at what the full moon actually represents. Well, we know that everything in life happens in a circle or in a cycle. Our day starts with the morning, goes through midday, and we go through into night. The seasons go through. Our life goes through different phases in our life, and we start, as a young child, and we grow up, and then we get to our later, wiser years. Now, the moon is often, because of its feminine energy, associated with the cycle of a woman's life. So I want you to think of the new moon, the start of a lunar cycle. That is like a young child, a young girl, a maiden. Now, the full life is ahead of you. The world is your oyster. And what do we always ask children? What do you want to be when you grow up? It's about dreaming and speculating and who knows what you will become. Then as we get round to the full moon, this is as we get into the second stage of life known as the mother. And this is where we're productive, we're adulting, we're out there, we're producing things, and we are giving birth to, literally, mothers are at that stage where they can give birth, and they're also at that stage where they're creating different things in their life as well. The full moon is the peak of motherhood, and that is where we kind of see the moon represented as that motherly energy and nurturing us. Now we know that the full moon is an amplifier. We notice our crystals get amplified and they become more heightened around the full moon. Our intuition gets heightened around that time. Whatever we're focusing on the full moon is amplified. Then what happens is we then go into the waning moon, and eventually we get into the dark moon the night before the new lunar cycle, which is kind of like New Year's Eve and letting go and that type of thing. So let's go back to that full moon. It's amplifying whatever we're focusing on. Remember that the universe does not know the difference between good and bad. It only knows what we're focusing on. So if we're focusing on a habit or an old relationship or something like that, and devoting our energy to that during the full moon energy, there is a risk that you might be amplifying that energy. When we're burning things, there's different practices. We can work with all the 4 different elements during the full moon time. We can channel and charge a candle, and candles of course are associated with that element of fire, which brings quick change that kind of makes things happen really briefly. We can burn incense, which is to do with the air and communicating with the universe of what we desire. We can program crystals or seeds to hold the vibration of what we wanted to start expressing that out into the world, or even water and wash ourselves with it or drink it to bring that emotional kind of balance in that way. So if we're writing down something and burning it, are we releasing that, or are we actually bringing that quick change and helping that to amplify and be replicated in our life ongoingly and keep on reoccurring more and more? What I would recommend is on the new moon, focus on what you want to bring into your life. On the full moon, use one of those elemental kind of magics, and I'm going to make some other videos in this series about how to do that a bit more detailed and send that out to the universe. Then as the moon starts to wane, we start to release and surrender and look at the opportunities of where we can kind of reap our harvest of the energy we put out into the world and work with the universe. And then as we get to the final days of the lunar cycle, we reflect. We look at what has not worked in our life, either in that lunar cycle or long before that, and that's when we release. So when do I recommend burning things that you'd like to release? I'd burn them on the dark moon. You can burn them, you can write them down and bury them, you can tear them up and throw them in the air, or put them in a body of water, making sure, of course, that we're not polluting that beautiful natural environment doing any of these practices at all. So take that in board. Remember, the energy of the full moon is one of amplification, not necessary release, and the dark moon that night before a new lunar cycle, I find to be the best time for releasing everything that has not served you, so that you can have a fresh start on the new moon and then go in like you've got a whole new life ahead of you. I'm Adam Barralet, Crystal Connections. Please let me know what you think in the comment section below. Agree, disagree? Let's have a healthy and respectful conversation and make sure that each practitioner of magic or just a little bit of, creativity or visualization or whatever you want to call it, that we all feel really comfortable with what we're doing and we're doing it mindfully and what really resonates with us. I'll talk to you very soon. Thank you so much for watching this video, and blessed be.